Okay, are we ready to get started?
Huh?
Wonderful. Okay, well, let me take the opportunity to welcome you. Wish you a happy Thursday on behalf of Sofia University. Welcome back to the second webinar in the series there that we have created exclusively for the Costa Mesa Chamber of Commerce. Today's topic will be curiosity, the hidden drivers of innovation and business success. And I would imagine that this topic resonates with many of the chamber members as being business owners and entrepreneurs and having that desire and that drive to innovate and be change agents and provide the type of value added services, goods, and services that you do as members of the chamber. My name is Dr. Dale Gooden. You can feel free to call me Dale. Many of my students call me Dr. D. I've actually been with Sofia University for about 2.5 years now. My background is a doctorate in health sciences with a concentration in education. I also have an MBA from the University of Laverne, local university there, not too far from Pomona. And then I have a law degree as well from Purdue University. And I'm just so thrilled to present this lecture. In addition to that, I am a small business owner as well. I have a consulting company. So a lot of these principles I put into place not only when I'm teaching MBA students and mentoring and guiding MBA students, but also incorporate some of these same practices that we'll talk about today in my own business as well. And so, why don't we just get right into it there? And I want to start by defining curiosity, but within the context of business. Often I see intellectual curiosity from students that want to go back to school and get their bachelor's degree or get their MBA degree, or maybe even get their doctorate degree driven by that intellectual curiosity that is the same stuff or the same substance that will lead to curiosity within the business context. And at its very core, it's a deep desire to learn and learn through exploration, learn through understanding. In the case of business, the desires and the needs and the expectations of customers, of industry players or industry stakeholders, or just the general business environment. When we talk about though innovation and the core of innovation, often the leaders that kind of capture the market and are first to the market, they have the ability to see the market develop and see um, uh, desires in the market or changes in the market that others can't see. So it's that desire to learn, to explore, and to understand, and maybe even carve processes, products, or services literally from the creative space. So when we talk about really the connection between the two, it often starts with a problem of a community, the problem of a business, and they need to solve a problem, the problem of a customer or a consumer that the business then needs to solve. Or maybe the problem goes undefined and we don't even realize there's a problem until the solution is presented. And that's a perfect example of the disruptive technologies that we're seeing here in the modern tech environment, such as Uber, for example. So it's that ability to disrupt, the ability to adapt. Companies need to stay ahead of market trends, need to stay ahead of market changes and customer needs. And so curiosity then becomes the fuel or the catalyst for collaboration, employee development, and development of new ideas. So let's look at a couple of examples of how curiosity or questions about an existing process or an existing procedure or market then ultimately led to innovation. And in our first example there, I want to bring your attention to Airbnb. And have to be fully transparent. I have actually never stayed at an Airbnb before. And so all of my experience with Airbnb has simply been from a research perspective. But I can tell you that the founders were curious there that some of the early bookings there when the company was still kind of fledgling, if you will, disrupting the market where before Airbnb, if you can dare to remember back that far, hotel stays were the primary way that people stayed when they were traveling. There were other areas such as bed and baths, if you will, or other kind of accommodations, if you will, but nothing to scale compared to hotels. And that's something that Airbnb did. So in the beginning, wondering why their listings weren't getting booked, why they weren't able to kind of build their business to scale, they actually put boots to the ground and they went out to New York City and they realized that the postings and the quality of the photos on the postings weren't up to the same level and expectation of the actual properties themselves. So they started to experiment with photographers and different tech workers that significantly increased their bookings because of the increase in the photography, the professional listings, and all of the other digital resources that kind of went along with transitioning Airbnb from a fledgling company to ultimately a company now that's to scale both at a national level and an international level. And then the second example here in the bullet point, there's been a lot said about Google. I think it's well published there, the exploits of Google and how they were really able to fill a gap in the market. Now, if you remember, before Google really rose to fame, Microsoft and specifically uh, Microsoft Internet Explorer was pretty much the main browser and the main search engine, but the federal government kind of came along and it forced Microsoft to stop coupling the browser along with their operating system. And that created the space for other internet browsers to now enter the market. And Google was indeed one of those companies. But what Google did different is it enhanced and it promoted the curiosity and the innovative spirit of those early people there that worked at Google. And as a matter of fact, according to research there was a mandate in those early days that employees spend about 20% of their time just coming up with new ideas, letting their business curiosity and their technical curiosity be developed and be fostered within that world class environment. And as a result of that, some of the most successful products that Google has launched came out of those innovative and curiosity zones, if you will, such as Gmail and Google News. So, just going to kind of put a pause there and let's see if we can uncover some of the ways that curiosity can be fostered through problem solving and through creative thinking. So, in that first example, A, where we're talking about, well, how does curiosity lead to problem solving there? Well, it creates a psychological safe space for questions, for brainstorming, for challenging norms. One of the probably worst phrases that you can hear is, we've always done it that way. That is the complete opposite of curiosity and innovation. And when you're in those spaces, it's very important for creative people to have the psychological space, if you will, to challenge the norms and create new visions and new processes that weren't there before, that only they can see and only they can develop. So, and of course, that takes time and resources there. And resources are often scarce. And so, businesses, especially small businesses, small to medium sized businesses, businesses that are fledgling, if you will, that are kind of on the precipice of moving from one stage to the next stage, has to be able to find time and resources. And resources aren't always monetary and financial resources, but that's a big part of it as well. But there are other type of resources, technical resources, human resources, uh, community resources, resources there that's within your larger business zone or business community, if you will. So think outside the box there when it comes to the availability and the allocation of time and resources there that will lead to problem solving through creative thinking. We talked a little bit earlier about intellectual curiosity. And so rewards for that, rewarding business innovation, and that looks different for many, many different companies. You know, sometimes it could be as simple as, you know, public recognition, increased prestige or responsibilities. Sometimes it's, you know, taking a half day off or taking an extended lunch, if you will. You know, maybe it's an internal promotion, but how can you reward uh, leaders and employees within the company to foster the curiosity and the innovation that it will take to take your business to the next level? And speaking of the next level there, it's going to take diverse perspectives and cross-functional collaboration. I'm always the fan that the demographics inside of your company, or at least inside of that zone of influence of your company, it needs to be just as diverse as your customer base or your community base or whoever you're serving, whether it's in a business to business environment or a business to consumer environment. The same diversity that you see external in the business environment, is ideally should be reflected internally. So it isn't always just about race and ethnicity, but it's diversity in thinking as well. It's diversity of perspectives. It's the diversity of vantage points, if you will. So diversity goes well beyond some of the traditional ways that we have thought about diversity, and it goes well beyond that, leading to ideally cross functional collaborations that then create the type of synergies that we need to push projects forward or to bring, I'll just say, kind of materialize or manifest new processes and procedures that weren't there before, or perhaps even improve on existing process and procedures. A lot of the time in business, when we talk about innovation and new products and services, oftentimes, not every time, but oftentimes, it's that second mover into the space that captures the market share. When the initial company goes to the market share, they have their offering, but it is the market that ultimately determines what that service or what that product will look like. And if the first mover doesn't adjust their processes and procedures to meet the market need, then that second mover usually is the one that comes into the market and improves on all of the weaknesses that the first mover did not do, also meeting the market demands and ultimately capturing the market share. Couple more here, and then I'm going to open it up for questions. So, inside of your organization, from the, I'll say, C suite all the way down through the rank and file, there should be questions, there should be an environment where information is fully shared, where there's no silos. Think of flat organizations where anyone or everyone is free to add value from their own unique, diverse perspective. And we've heard anecdotal stories about, janitors or people that may not be very high up on the organizational chart that oftentimes will come up with the best ideas that often will innovate businesses. A perfect example of that, and this is a widely publicized story, but the idea of Ronald McDonald, who I think is fair to say is one of the most recognized symbols or icons, mascots, whatever you want to call it in the world, was actually the idea of a small franchise owner that started the whole idea of Ronald McDonald locally, because through, again, curiosity and innovation, how do we get people into our restaurants? How do we bring in the kids that will then bring in the parents, if you will? And so this whole idea of Ronald McDonald ultimately worked its way up through the highest organizational chart there at McDonald's corporate, and the rest is kind of history, if you will. So be open minded to new ideas and new perspectives, especially during that brainstorming session. I always stress that brainstorming and the process of being open to new ideas and perspective, it has to be an authentic process. And when you're going through that process, sometimes these ideas sound so outlandish, but it's still okay to record them. Be true to the process of generating ideas and brainstorming, because that calls for non judgment and it calls for open mindedness. there'll be plenty of time to go back and critique and eliminate and evaluate these ideas. But those initial new ideas and new perspectives, you have to be open to them so the seed can be planted and ultimately have the ability to prove its viability or not. And that does mean challenging the status quo. I think one of the enemies to innovation and curiosity is the status quo, the fact that we've always done it that way. And there are plenty of stories there, and I'm not going to share a lot of them today, but there are plenty of stories where you've had market leaders that were dominating the space. But when the new technology or the disruptive technology came along, they didn't have any way to process it or understand it or incorporate it within their existing business model. And as a result of that, over a 5 or 10 year business cycle, then we start to see the flip, right? We start to see Kodak, for example, which was a market leader dominating the market with actual film itself, but wasn't able to ride the wave of the digital camera technology. And in a short 10 year time frame there, Kodak was no longer a viable company, and that entire industry had literally transformed uh, under their uh, under their feet, if you will. So look at problems from different and situations from different angles, different perspectives. Be open-minded to that, and that all fosters this whole idea of continuous learning or being in a continuous learning environment. And that's what we do. We, as small businesses or any businesses, but small businesses, small to medium sized businesses, we're in the best position to really capture the data of the market because we're very close to the market. Actually, we are the market. The grassroots small business companies are the market. So we capture that market and then we learn from the information from that market and we customize our product or service so we then can fulfill the need to that market. And then we continue. It's a constant process of continuous quality improvement. And as we continue to do that, then it lays the foundation for business success and business scalability. So, how do we get this done? Well, it starts from the top. Sure, it does. It starts with leaders that encourage and reward an innovative and curiosity environment. And the best way to do that, of course, is modeling that. Team leaders and teams should, again, be cross functional and bring diverse perspectives to the table. Individuals who take initiatives should be put in charge or at least foster these initiatives to a point to where the company can make a decision if you want to continue on with this product line or this service line, or perhaps you've exhausted all of the feasibility there. But the usually the person or the people that come up with the idea are the best people to help drive it forward. And then ultimately there, the company value or the corporate values there of continuous learning, continuous quality improvement, experimentation, and intellectual growth will certainly lay the foundations for building curiosity and driving innovation within your company. So I just want to take a pause right now and open the floor up for questions, comments, and concerns. And really, I want you to, if you uh, are up for the challenge here. I want you to look at some of these statements here that are on this slide, and I want you to either respond by taking your phones off of mute, or you can feel free to type in the chat box as well. But what are these statements? How do they resonate with you when we talk about the impact of curiosity on productivity and efficiency? What do you envision or imagine that would look like in your business or look like in your industry? Are there already areas there that maybe you've already identified that are ripe for uh, curiosity slash research slash experimentation? And if so, maybe we can talk about that, or maybe we can hash some of that out here on this webinar, or maybe even in the text messages. So think about that one. And on this second one there, curiosity being a driver to customer understanding and market insights. As a business owner, certainly, we want to grow our business, and we want to sell our product and service, especially in a business to business environment. But in order to do that, we have to uh, provide the opportunity for the person that we're selling to grow their business. So how can my product or service lead to you having larger margins, or extended revenue streams, or growing your business? So you're not just buying my product or service because I want you to. You're buying it because it's adding value by either increasing your profit margins, growing your customer base, or maybe even growing your revenue. So, how can your understanding of your customer's environment or the market environment drive that curiosity? And then finally, there, curiosity as a tool for adapting to changes in the business landscape, or to a changing business landscape. And certainly, if you're in the gig space or the uh, digital economy, you're seeing that change on a rapid basis. So, I'm just going to open up the floor here and see if anyone has any comments about any of those three topics there, or any of these ideas that have resonated with you up to this point.
I mean, I would definitely say that. I mean, just the very idea of it, right? Curiosity in the business place definitely resonates. And some of the bullet points, I think, interesting enough, I wouldn't necessarily always think of it as curiosity or creativity or something like that. And so I really do feel like it has an impact on, having a productive and efficient work environment. I think when you're being curious, you're being creative, and that can be energizing and exciting, right? And so that excitement level increases that productivity and efficiency, because you're allowing time to kind of step out from just the day-to-day mundane tasks that are a little monotonous, and do something that is energizing and you look forward to. And so kind of creating an environment where you're able to be curious and foster ideas can be so impactful, in my opinion. So and I would say, especially when you're talking about adapting to, a new business landscape, with things are always changing, right? So if you don't have the ability to think about things differently, how can you adapt to how things change, and make sure that your business can go along with that change, right? And I think we really saw a lot of different things as far as curiosity and innovation, or just thinking outside the box, right? I guess that's what I always think about, not necessarily curiosity, but thinking outside the box. But that's what it is, right? And with COVID, right? So many businesses stepped into a completely different maybe industry or reimagine their product and how it could apply during that time. And some businesses, you saw some businesses that you wouldn't expect really thrive, and then some, disappear. And so I think it had to do with that ability to adapt and think outside the box. So that's my feedback.
Yeah, I love that. And, I'm starting to kind of get the impression there that innovation and curiosity are really just opposite sides of the same coin, right? Because one begets the other. But it's a paradigm shift. It's a mindset, if you will. So it isn't just a task, but it's a culture.
Hmm.
And so that culture, again, it's ideally it uh, gets established at the very top of the organization, if you will, and it kind of trickles down. But also, it's a bi-directional process too, because curiosity and innovation can also go up the organizational chart. I've found that. The people that are usually the closest to the customers themselves are the people that actually have the information that can drive these innovative processes and drive these curiosity driven initiatives, if you will.
Yeah. Well, and, creating an environment, as you stated before, and, I think you said what that, lacking curiosity, thought I wrote it down, is basically, such a deterrent to innovation, right? If you're not able to create that environment to be able to think about all these new ideas and whatnot. And, even the position that we are at the chamber at this juncture, really trying to reimagine things, right? Like these things that, work for a long time, are they working now? Are there new things that we could be doing in their place that would be, more impactful, or that our business community would be more excited about, right? And curious about too. I mean, on your second point, how curiosity drives customer understanding, um, I would say like curiosity really drives, you know, being a consumer, right? So our marketing initiatives really tie into being able to play with somebody's curiosity, right? Click here, learn more, and check this out, little teaser videos and things like that, and how popular they say just like a 30-second video is in comparison to something long, because you're able to hook someone in, spike that curiosity level, and then get them to go to your page, get them to want to learn more. And that can really drive your business. So that's kind of how it ties in there as well. So I think thinking about how can you create an environment where a customer is curious as well?
Outstanding. So let's look at some strategies there that will help foster curiosity and innovation. And how can the Costa Mesa Chamber of Commerce help foster and facilitate that process? And this is actually one of the ways, through hosting webinars, informative webinars like this, providing um, world class information to business owners and entrepreneurs, information that's again coming from academia, coming from the latest available research on the topics. So, networking events, industry specific workshops and webinars. And again, this is a perfect example of that. I like the idea about cross industry collaboration, because oftentimes there are ideas and processes in other industries that we can bring into a new industry that can revolutionize that industry. And examples of that, and these are examples I often share, but the checklist. something as simple as a checklist, but a very powerful tool that was used in the airline industry. Pilots actually use checklists, and other aviation professionals use checklists to make sure that all of the safety precautions and all of the prerequisites for a mid-air flight would need to be achieved and verified before a flight would take off. And as a result of that, we now use checklists in the medical industry, in the healthcare industry, for example, to make sure all prerequisites are met for surgical events. We also use it in the finance industry, if you will, to make sure that any prerequisites and financial requirements are met. This whole idea of just-in-time inventory process called Kazan, that was made famous by Toyota. And this process basically says that we don't want to have any inventory slash money sitting on the shelf. So we have to design, speaking for Toyota here, we have to design our manufacturing process to where when the when the product gets low enough, it triggers a reorder, and by the time the last product is taken off the shelf, the reorder now puts a brand new product on the shelf. Well, Walmart has taken that idea to the next level and have created a world-class logistics company that happens to have retail stores, if you will. But we also see it in the food and the restaurant industry as well. So the days of having inventory, i.e., money, sitting on the shelf has proved to be inefficient. But these were ideas that were not native to industries before the automotive industry, in the example of Kazan, and also other examples where um, ideas from other industries can revolutionize. So resources for accessing new informations and trends. You're going to find a lot of that information in the digital space, if you will. I also like to look at different age demographics, if you will, as well, to see where these new trends or new ideas are coming from as well. So you've got to be able to keep your pulse on that demographic as well. Online learnings and webinars will constantly keep you in the loop. I watch a lot of YouTube. That's actually where I get a lot of information from YouTube about these new ideas. So once I find out about the ideas, then I take that idea and I do my scholarly research on it. But initially, that idea, it may come from the web, it may come from YouTube. These are, what, you know, young people or certain demographics are doing there, and so these online platforms are a perfect place to find out about all this new stuff. Industry publications and white papers are another good place to kind of stay up to speed on innovation and curiosity. Speaking series such as TED Talks, for example. Local Chamber of Commerce may also have a public speaking series as well, where professionals come in once a month or maybe once a quarter and speak on a specific topic. And then, continuous learning initiatives, again, similar to what we've done here. This is our second webinar in partnership with the Costa Mesa Chamber of Commerce, and so this is, a good partnership, a mutually beneficial partnership that ideally will help you grow your business and help you, grow into mega entrepreneurs and mega innovators, if you will. As far as your own personal development as a business owner, and I would imagine that a lot of these you have already incorporated to kind of get where you are today. So, can you use these same ideas, or can you go 2.0 or 3.0 to take it to the next level in terms of mentorship? And sometimes it can be a virtual mentorship. Sometimes maybe you don't actually have a relationship with the person, but it's a virtual mentorship because you're tracking this person, you're tracking their business decisions, you're tracking them on social media. You're reading news stories and watching news stories, and so they kind of become your mentor. Warren Buffett, I think, is a great example of that. Maybe for many people, the great investor and founder and CEO of Berkshire Hathaway. I think people who know who he is, we kind of look up to Warren Buffett. We'll never ever meet Warren Buffett, but he can still be considered a mentor. Maybe we can't invest to the level that Berkshire Hathaway does, but maybe we can take those same ideas and incorporate it in our own little universe, if you will. So that will be true for all of the great mentors. So pick a mentor, Jeff Bezos, whoever there, and let that person be your virtual mentor. And with that being said, there are websites out there that these famous people will have workshops and websites and classes and different motivational aspects there that will help you. So if you want access to these people, you can get access to the people. You just may have to shell out some financial resources to do it, but look at it as an investment and fully expect a return on your investment. Skill sharing, you can kind of think of this a little bit as bartering a little bit, the whole idea about bartering. So maybe if you're good at a particular skill or particular technical uh, aptitude, if you will, and then someone else is good at something else. Maybe there's some type of sharing. Well, I'll do all your copywriting if you do all of my proofreading, if you will. So kind of think of how we can do that in the digital space and in the tech space and that gig space, if you will. Tuition reimbursement, certificate programs, action plans, all of these ideas. There are all of these artifacts that kind of help you bring the idea from the realm of ideas into the realm of materialization, or better yet, manifestation, because you're doing tangible things such as coming up with action plans, allocating resources, taking certificate classes. So yeah, there's this website out there. I can't think of the name of it right now, where you can actually, is it Coursera? I think it's called, where you can actually take certificate programs. And I think even some of, I think they may even actually offer college degrees, even on that website as well. But you don't have to, go back to college. But if you do, we'd love for you to consider Sophia University. But you can go and get just in time skill sets such as artificial intelligence or, um, um, you know, nano computing to kind of get those real just in time skill sets, if you will. So, finally, here, as we kind of conclude, I'm going to offer 7 steps for implementing a curiosity driven culture within your business. And the first one is for you to foster a culture of psychological safety. And that means that it's okay for people to make mistakes. It's okay for people to use resources that ultimately may not lead to profitability. And so that's what that is. It is a people have to have the mental space in order to have the creative space to come up with new ideas and processes that will take your business to the next level. So incorporated into the core values and processes. That may cause you to go out and rewrite your mission statement. You may want to go out and rewrite your vision statement, because those are the guiding documents of your business. And if curiosity and innovation is that important, then perhaps it needs to be reflected in your business artifact. So think about a creative process with your entire business or the core people in your business that you can participate in a process of rewriting your mission, rewriting your vision, and that will certainly go a long way in incorporating it into your culture. Provide training and other types of tools that will continue to foster the process. Encourage cross functional collaborations. I'd love for, and when I say cross functional, that doesn't mean that everyone in the meeting will all be managers or all be executives. That means that, that cross functional means that someone from the rank and file, someone from the line, you know, are in that meeting too. So it isn't just upper level management. It's ideally the people that are close to the customers and the customers' wants, needs, desires, and complaints are part of that cross functional team. And then reward people, reward them through increased responsibilities, reward them through public displays of prestige, reward them monetarily, reward them through time, through paid time off, for example. A lot of different ways there that you can show people how valued they are and reward them. Implement a curiosity driven practice for whatever that looks like, um, for you and your company. But the point is, and that point there, and that bullet point is it has to be something that's tangible, meaning that you can't move a project forward within your organization without going through some type of a brainstorming or some type of a curiosity or innovative workflow, if you will. That way, you can ensure people aren't just bringing the status quo to your business. And then measure it. Measure it. Measure the success, determine metrics, determine measures for it. Then those measures become your baseline measures for new, innovative, and curiosity driven products and services within your business. And of course, the Costa Mesa Chamber of Commerce is here to support you by hosting network events, educational programs, offering mentorship programs, innovation hubs, and information resources. Speaking of innovation hubs, I would want to introduce you to Sofia University for those of you that aren't familiar there. I happen to be an adjunct faculty in both the MBA program and the DBA program. The DBA program is actually one of our newer programs there, and it provides that type of business hub and business innovation and that Silicon Valley innovative zone. One of our campuses is located right in the heart of Silicon Valley in Palo Alto. As a matter of fact, the MBA program is one of the top 10 MBA programs in the entire Silicon Valley. And so our DBA program is carved right out of the heart and spirit of that Silicon Valley MBA program. It's for business leaders that are interested in leveraging academic methods to solve real world problems. And so you'll have the opportunity to, as a student, experience academic rigor. You'll have an opportunity to assess your leadership, to self reflect on your growth, and to really look at the world through a global lens as you come up with processes and ideas to solve some of the most difficult problems in business and industry. So I'm going to just, let you see all that information on the screen there, but some of the highlights there and some of what we're hearing from our students there are, the leadership aspects of it. There's one process there where there's a leadership development plan where you actually do a self-assessment and then you continue to self-assess yourself as a leader in preparation to implement whatever your problem solving or business challenge is. So it's kind of a dual process there where you self develop or professional develop through building your leadership, preparing you then to go out and solve these complex business challenges within your community. Also, we encourage publications as well from a fully accredited DBA program. And yeah, so I think with that being said here, we'll just go ahead and open up the floor here the last couple of minutes for any questions, comments, or concerns that you may have about the uh, curiosity, the hidden drivers of innovation and business success.
Yeah, normally I have so many questions, but I think you were very thorough and
Must be
really
kind.
gave me a lot to think about. I think it's such a great topic to really sit and really think about, like, how are you creating those opportunities for yourself to be curious, and whether it's, professional or personal, right? Like, how do we stay curious in our life to be innovative? And then also from a leadership perspective, not just internally at the business, but, especially, at the chamber level. I love how you tied in so many things with the chamber and how we try to foster those environments for the business community. But yeah, how do you create that with, maybe your neighbors, your business neighbors, or different things in a new space? So lots to think about. Thank you so much for
You're quite
taking the
welcome.
time to go over all this and share all this wonderful information. And you actually did point out something that I never even thought about personally, about having a digital mentor. I think that's a really interesting way to think about it, like someone that you follow and you really enjoy their thought process. And it is, right? You're paying attention to that and learning and growing, and they are pretty much like a digital mentor, and that can be just as equally as impactful. So especially with all the podcasts out today and things like that. So yeah.
Great.
Well,
Okay,
thank you
well,
so much, guys.